Okay, this is part 2 of restoring the Macintosh LC475 for YouTube user 16mm DJ, while my iMac, which is full of lines by the way, but I'll have to fix that when I get some extra money, is processing the video, which is going to take forever because it is G5, you know. While it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and make part 2. First thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this backed up, dead, screwed hard drive. Get it out of my way. We know that one's bad. We know this one's bad. Well, I got to take that bracket off because that hard drive bracket is going to go onto this drive. But before we do that, let's go ahead and look in our RAM box. See what we have here. No. Maybe. Got all kinds of RAM. Oh, there we go. That's an 8. I don't know if I can get it to focus. It's 8 megabytes. Nope. Well, let's just go ahead and try this one because it has the most RAM chips. So what we're actually going to do, because it is SIM, and it's been a while since I messed with 72-pin SIM, is first we have to line up the pins correctly. Nope, won't work backwards. Line up the pins correctly, like so. Go ahead and place it down until it clicks into place, secure. Let's see what it does. It's got a chime. That's good. Grab our boot floppy. Get out of the packaging. Use our System 7.5 network access disk. Ooh, there we go. It booted. So we're going to go ahead and put our floppy in. Wow, that's booting. Let's go ahead and clean up our RAM mess. Well, still may need that. So, depending on what size this is. Get that out of the way. So hopefully this should be enough RAM, because if this RAM is good, leave the napkin out of the way, if that RAM is good, we might be able to run system software 8.1, macOS 8.1. So if we can run macOS 8.1, then we can live a sweet dream. Of course, it's not going to run as fast. It will bring the system to a crawl, but hey, you know, if you're on 8.1, at least it's going to be a little more modern, at least. I don't have my SCSI CD-ROM drive laid out, so I'm just going to do the same thing, because actually mounted in this computer is my Apple Legacy Recovery CD, which has macOS 8.1 on it, and I can get to the network share. So, password ABC123. Go ahead and wait for the desktop to load. It is booting from floppy, which isn't the fastest thing in the world. Apple menu. About this Macintosh. Much better. Wow. Wow. That's a lot of RAM. 36 megabytes. That's plenty for Mac OS 8. Plenty. That's plenty of RAM for your 68K enjoyment. Of course, the operating system is taking 29 megs of it, and that's because System 7.5 NAD network access disk doesn't support that much RAM unless it had a 32-bit system enabler. But Mac OS 8 will use that RAM without a problem. So now that we have that RAM, we gotta shut it back down. Pops the disk out. Might as well leave it aside because we are gonna need that. Time to switch off the computer. And we're going to pull out the new hard drive. Figures it's taped so you can't get to nothing. Alright. This hard drive has been formatted from re-PC on 6/27 of 11. So if that's the case, we know this hard drive is good. However, I don't know what the SCSI ID of the drive is, and the terminators are missing, the passive terminators. But not to despair, because if I'm not mistaken, I think they do. These have terminators. So just in case, I will keep this aside. So just in case I do need the passive termination, I will remove them off the old drive. So what we gotta do now is take the bracket off of the old hard drive. Like such. Move this bracket out of the way. Put the hard drive in the junk pile. Grab this hard drive and slip that bracket on. Then we gotta line the holes up. Alright. Get the screw started. Okay, screws are started. Torque them down. Changing a hard drive in a Macintosh LC is not hard, but darn it, I didn't center the screw holes good enough. But at least I got it started. That's the important thing. As I was saying, this hard drive is not Apple ROMmed. In other words, it does not have an Apple signature on the firmware of this hard drive. What that means is this: Apple formatting utilities such as HDSC setup will not see this drive. It will tell you that there's no volumes present, even though it's a lie. So what we have to do is we either have to use third-party formatting utilities, or we're going to have to use the hacked version of Apple HDSC setup. But if I have the hacked copy of it, I will use it. Okay, here's it. If I have the hacked copy of it, I will use it. Oh, is that an activity LED? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not good. Not spinning up. Nope. Oh, sounds like it's suffering from stiction. Then again, I'm not sure. I'm probably going to need the terminators and all that stuff, so I'll be back in 1 minute once I get the terminators in this drive set up correctly. Okay, you really don't want to know what I had to do. This drive suffered from what the last two of these drives I had done. This is only a 500 megabyte. The two that I worked on were 4.3 gigabytes. And what happened was the actual platter was not spinning. It literally wasn't spinning. I have another one of those drives right down here that I fixed, and I swapped the same drive. I swapped the control boards, and it didn't make any difference. And I had to take and put those termination resistors in there. I had to do that. But so what I did was I took the drive apart, and they had it sealed all the way around here. Took the drive apart, took the platter assembly out, because what happened was the actual head stuck to the platter. So I had to take the platter assembly out. I had to clean the head, read-write head. Got to be very, 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 very careful. I've done this with two 4.3 gigabyte drives, and I ran them for 6 years and never had a problem out of them. Okay, but had the same issue. So I had to take the platter assembly out. You have to take the whole assembly out because there is a double platter in here, and if you take the platters and move them separate from one another, you will lose the servo tracks and it will not ever work ever again. So you have to remove it as a complete assembly. So I was able to move the read-write heads out of the way, clean those very gently with a microfiber, and then clean the platter assembly up. The motor was already free, so I didn't have to do anything with that. Cleaned the in between the platters and everywhere where the head was stuck and sitting there. Put it all back together, and it spins up. Alright, perfect. So now it should recognize the drive. At least I hope. We're going to see. And what I will do is when I do format this drive, I will do a full sector scan and make positively sure this drive is going to hold up, because the platter surface might be damaged from where the head stuck to the platter. With the other two drives I did, I never had that problem. But typically what happens is when these drives sit and sit and sit and they never get used, this is what happens. So you do have to use these drives every once in a while. You have to use them because all the debris, there's two air filters in here, and when it creates an air bearing, it catches all the debris in these filters that come through here. And if you don't run the drive, the debris just collects up, and then it just, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but that's what we got. Whoops, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. I don't even really know the phenomenon, but I know that it's what it's called. It's called stiction. That's what happens with these drives. So that's usually what happens. It's called stiction. So what we got to do is once this thing loads up, I'll grab my chair here so I can sit down. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the shared volume that I have on the server. Take that shared volume, and inside my HD80 folder, which was the backup of the hard drive I took before I sent it off to him, I'm going to use a program called Micronet Utility to format the drive, because the Apple utility won't see anything other than an Apple ROMmed drive. I don't have the hacked version handy, so I'm just going to use that program. Hopefully it'll see the drive. It's loading it from the network right now is what those two arrows are. It's loading the file in the memory before it scans the SCSI bus. Valid drive found, SCSI ID 0. Alright, there's the drive. So what we're going to do is we're going to see partition initialized, see micronet, see all other products. Okay. 510 Mac OS volume. I'm going to do no compatible. Partition number 0, new. Yes. Alright, drive partition volume name. Macintosh HD. I'm an old school Mac user. I use PCs too, I use them both, but I've been in with Macintosh since junior high, and that's been since 1998. So I know pretty much about all of these little machines and what they do, how to use them. Formatting the drive right now. Probably not going to be able to hear it over the air conditioner, but it's initializing the partition, so my guess is it's going through and formatting every sector. So once it's done, I'll be right back. It should, as long as the drive doesn't fail mid through, it should pass the sector test. If it does fail, we'll just have to replace the drive. But I don't think it will, because I've done 2 more of these. Actually, I've done 3. The 2 1.2 gigs. Let's see, what do we got? New partition created, and all right, good, done. Macintosh. There it is. There's the hard drive. $96K in disk, 507.8 megabytes available. Good. Alright, the drive initialized. So what we're going to do is we're going to close out of the micronet utility. We're going to open back up my file manager. Actually, I need to open up the other mount. And we're going to run the Norton Utilities. What this is going to let me do is do a full sector scan of the hard disk drive. Let's see, Norton Disk Doctor. Searching for it right now. Oh, need to get that off the screen. Duct tape. Hey, it works. Taking forever to load off of a local talk network. Okay, click examine. Do a disk information scan. Startup disk is full. Well, no shit. Because it is a floppy disk. And System 7.5 network access disk, or 7.5 NAD, if you will, takes up the entire high density disk. So we're doing a sector scan right now. So once this successfully passes, I'll be back with the part 3 of installing the operating system. Norton Disk Doctor passed without any issues, but I just want to make sure that everything is going to work correctly, so we're going to run a program called FWB Hard Disk Toolkit. What this software lets me do is partition and do a full low-level sector format of the entire hard drive. So once this gets loading over the network, which is what it's doing right now, indicated by the two arrows, we're going to do a full initialize of the drive. You can also encrypt and password protect the hard drive with this utility. Same thing with Silver Lining, but if you want to do encryption, it has to be a PowerPC or better processor, as the 68K series doesn't have enough horsepower to do that. So we're going to go ahead and pick the hard disk drive. We're going to unmount it. We'll take it out of the Finder, which is exactly what I did. I want to do, let's see, format, low level. Alright, we're going to do a low. This is going to take a couple of hours, but we're going to make positively sure. Narrowly cancel. Okay, we're going to make positively sure that this hard drive is good. So we're going to do a low level format of the entire hard disk drive. Yes. Yes. Ask me 1,000 times, you're going to format it anyway. Okay, 28 minutes. So I'll be back in 28 minutes with the results. Well, it completed. Format device completed successfully. So that hard drive is good. So my repair worked once again. So we're going to create an Apple partition, auto mount bootable security. Let's see. Security type password? No, I don't want no security. I'm going to go ahead and create